Hey, what's going on? This is Charles, and this is another episode of my wonderful podcast. Now, this podcast is part of my YouTube channel, which is also wonderful. And if you don't think it's wonderful, well, you just haven't watched enough videos. So, anyways, today I'm going to talk about my most recent time on stage. I've been on stage now 5 times. Yes. I'm a well-seasoned professional. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so let me talk about that. So it felt like it was a little rough, to be honest. Actually, I messed up with the microphone. I don't know. Is there a way you're supposed to handle the microphone? Is that just a thing? Anyways, I get on stage and I'm trying to pull the mic out of the mic stand, and it has a cord. I didn't realize how like tightly wound it was around the mic stand. So I go to pull it out of the mic stand and it disconnects from the cable. Yeah, smart move, pal. And so what I did was right after that, I realized I'm looking at it and I realized the mic is no longer connected to the wire. And then I say into the mic, hello, can you hear me? Oh, man, of course they couldn't hear me. So it just sounded like I was like whispering because the wire wasn't connected. And so then in my mind, I get all, hey, what's going on, pal? Sorry, I'm in a parking lot and someone's looking over here. But anyways, yeah, so I decide to, I figured it out. I got it connected back and I continue on. And it was a little embarrassing, but it's just like, what are you going to do, man? Like, what am I supposed to do here, bro? And so anyways, I continued on with what I had planned. So I'll go ahead and decide. I'm just going to share, kind of give you guys a rundown. Maybe I'm not good at whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so I start going into these jokes that I had planned that were about AI. And I was trying to communicate how AI sometimes comes off condescending, like, oh, you don't know how to do math, based on what I ask it or what I put in, what I add into the prompts or whatever you call it. And yeah, I don't think it was really going well. And then I was trying to do an analogy how AI is like one of your smart friends who knows a lot of information and always tries to make you look bad in public. And so then I shared a story. Now here's where I messed up. I shared a story and this was a real story, how I was talking about spiders and I used the word spiders and bugs. And I was like, yeah, I don't like spiders. I'm really afraid of spiders. And then I go, yeah, I don't really like bugs. And my friend was like, well, actually, arachnids is the right word for spider. They're not considered a bug. And so when I told the joke, I actually told it wrong. Like when I told the story, I don't even know if we're calling these jokes. Do these even qualify as a joke? But when I told the little mini story, when I was on stage, I was like, I said that bugs. Oh, wait, now I'm messing up. Oh, yeah, I said, oh, well, bugs are arachnids. Wait, how did I say it? Did I say... Oh, I said... Oh, yeah. So then as I was the person who was correcting me, they said bugs are arachnids, which is not correct. Spiders are considered arachnids. So I totally messed that up. Yeah, so then I tried a couple other, like, AI stuff, and I think the truth is I just wasn't as prepared. I should have been a little bit better, a little bit more prepared, It's like, what a thought, what a concept. You got to actually prepare for this stuff, man. And so then I say out loud, oh, I don't think this AI stuff is really working well. And so then I start going into some other stuff that I had kind of had up in my brain. And what did I share next? Let me think. Now I'm forgetting it. That's how memorable it was. Okay, so I share how sometimes I say things that are wrong in public, which I just proved by the previous story and how I told the story wrong. But no one really who knows if they even caught it, but some people caught it, but it's fine. So I shared how, I was sharing how, nowadays kids, because of social media, I think a lot of kids or teens, they kind of have a lot of fear because there's always this concern that since they're in the public and everyone has a camera, everyone has social media, it's like that. I think that'll prevent them from like doing certain things because they don't want to be recorded and put online and put on the internet. And I was like, yeah, I'm not really too worried about that. But for me, it's like my social anxiety is what kind of keeps me in check. That's one of the things I said. And what I meant by that is that sometimes I'll just say things that just are ridiculous. Like recently, my wife and I were at this bar, and we were hanging out. We were watching like some live music, and we were trying to head out. And instead of just saying, "Oh, hey, can we get the check?" I was like, "Oh, we're ready to head out. We're ready to head out now, and I will pay now." I said something like that. Like, what? I will pay now? Well, of course I'm gonna pay it. Like, what? Why did I say that? And so I walked out, and I was like stuck in my own head. Like, and my wife, at the same time, my wife's like, "Oh, can we get the check?" And my wife's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." She's like trying to like make me feel better. She's like, "Oh, maybe they just thought, that you were offering to pay, and they thought we were just like on a date." And I was like, okay. But then I was like, no, what was I thinking? And then I was like, oh, it's not the end of the world. But then I was like, nah, maybe it is the end of the world. And so I shared that, and then there was another guy who did so these places that I've been going to, when I go on stage, it's a mix of people who are doing like poetry and music. And there was a guy who went on stage before me, and he did a poem. And he made a reference to the whole imposter syndrome. So I started thinking about that, and I was like, hey, I appreciate what you said about the imposter syndrome. Like right now, my imposter syndrome is like, just go back and sit down, buddy. Like, just go back and sit down, pal. It's just going to be better for you if you just stop. And I continued on. So what else did I share? Man, I can't even remember what else I shared. I think I shared like a couple other instances of some things that I've said like out in public. And then at that point, I wanted to try to get to 5 minutes, which is usually what we have when we're on stage. I wanted to get there, but I hit about 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I was like, I'm out of here. And I was like, all right, thanks. And I walked off. And I don't know, I must have sounded like, I don't know, maybe I sounded a little dejected, discouraged, because like the host was like, oh, Charles, you've been doing really well. You're really getting into the groove of things when it comes to the comedy. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then there was a guy next to me, and he was like, and this was cool, I'm not downplaying what they're saying. But there was a guy to my right who was like, hey man, you have a good voice up there. You're doing good. Just got to be confident. And then he gave me a fist bump. And that was cool. It was like a little bit of power. I got a little bit of power. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's the plan. That's basically how it went. I really didn't feel like it went that well, like, and my wife was there, and she was laughing at a couple different points, and she was like, she's like, you were getting laughs when you're doing the AI stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I didn't hear anything. I don't know if that's like, I can't hear well, or maybe I need to get my ears cleaned out, or if it's just like, I'm up there. When I'm up there, it's hard to hear because I'm just so focused on what I'm doing. Oh, the other thing that I did that I didn't like was I was doing a lot of no, just like a lot of and what am I gonna say next? And it's basically just reminds me that, like I said, I need to prepare more. So what I've been doing in the past is I write down like what I'm gonna say. Like I'll write it out, and when I write it out, it gets in my head. But I probably need to I need to rehearse more, like out loud. So anyways, but yeah, that's kind of what's going on. That's kind of what's been going on. Hope you guys are doing well. And it's already been about 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hope you guys are having a great day. And talk to you later.